Hello and welcome to the Brazilian BA Guest. I have different guests every week talking about something that's interesting for all business analysts. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, click on the bell. It will be a pleasure to have you here. My guest for this week is Indy Mitra. Hello, Indy. Thank you for coming.
Hi. Hi, Fabrizio. Nice to see you again.
Oh, it's a pleasure. The pleasure is mine. And Indy, I do have a question for you. The
Mhm.
question is, how can we manage risks? It's
How
a
can
very
we?
open question.
It is a very open question. Who is we? The business analyst? The business analyst mindset?
I think we can call about business analysis, but we could call it as every professional can do business analysis. We can call about professionals, right?
Okay, so every risk management is part of everybody's life, and it's important that as business analysts, professionals, or um, engineers or nurses or whatever, you need to have that ability to assess risk and understand the role it plays. So in every business case, you have the cost to deliver something and the benefit of delivering something. And the benefit is usually $5 million worth of sales or something like that. In the business analysis context, depending on where you are in the overall context, you could be in a agile environment, a waterfall environment. You could be doing a small change request, or you could be doing a very large project to introduce a new capability into an organization. Risk management is a key component of that. It's part of your costs piece of your business case. And depending on how you choose to address the risk will impact your benefit statement. So if you decide I'm going to spend $3 million to make my system bilingual or to have many languages, then I will have to spend that money. That reduces the amount of my benefit is, but what it does is it gives me long-term benefits because I'm now compliant with, say, government regulations or company regulations around what kinds of capabilities a user needs to have available to them. So to me, risk is it's inbuilt. It's part of our mindset. It's part of everybody's mindset. You use it when you take your child to school and decide to cross the road. You use it when you decide to go to New Zealand and go onto the Nevis Swing, if you've never heard of that. There's all of these kinds of places where you can take risks. And as business analysts, we need to make sure that within the context of the initiative, within the context of the value that the business is looking for, that they're also considering the risk of what they're doing. And so sometimes you'll get a business partner who will say, oh, I don't care if it's accessible, or I just want to add a field, like, don't bother me with all this other stuff. As our role as business analysts is to influence without authority. We don't have the authority. We're trying to make sure we're helping the business to deliver outcomes. But risk is a key part of that outcome because it's part of the equation that you're using when you do your business cases.
I always see risks related to this task of predicting the future, right? So as analysts, we are always trying to see what's not here yet, but it's going to be in the
Imagining
future.
it, yeah.
And sometimes the future is unpredictable, or let's not say unpredictable, but it can be it may happen in different ways. And there is an uncertainty in the future, and that's what risk is all about. Risk may be seen as an uncertainty, and I see that our job as analysts is very much related to access the value of those uncertainties and what could
Yes.
be done to make that less uncertain, or more focused on that way that the uncertainty is more beneficial for us or for our companies.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's one way to think about it for sure. When you have a big initiative and you develop some KPIs, for example, those performance indicators rely on a series of assumptions, and they will have associated risks associated with them. So if one of your KPIs is to earn $5 million a year for the next 25 years, the risk of not making that application bilingual needs to be factored into that. And so it's not necessarily predicting the future, but it is understanding how likely it is that something might come and bite you. Might be a problem for the company or for whatever product you're working on, whatever process you're building, that kind of thing. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, and I wanted to come back for the original question when I said, how can we manage risks?
Mm-hmm.
I know as we came from business analysts, our business analysts are are very good in managing requirements, and so they can classify requirements and they can manage requirements, maintain requirements in basis. But I'm not sure if they are very well prepared to manage risks at the same time. And I suppose there are a lot of methodologies for doing that, or different tests.
Yes.
What hints could you give for a BA, at least in this short time, for how should they manage the risks they are identifying and assessing?
I think the big thing you need to think about is typically think of it as what could possibly happen if nothing is done to prevent something happening, if that makes sense. So it's if you just think happy path, then you're not considering risks. You're just saying, okay, I want to change this system or I want to make this process do something. So you need to think about risk as you are describing your change or your requirements, understanding the impact of the requirements. The non-functional requirements component of a requirements document, whether it's in a backlog for an agile project or if it's in a formal document, all need to consider, and they typically do consider potential risks. And depending on the company you work for, some of them will have it, defined down to the nth degree, and others will have something a little less formal. The important thing is to recognize that those non-functional requirements are your opportunity to influence the business to make sure that they are thinking about those things. So accessibility requirements, language requirements, cybersecurity requirements, systems operations requirements. So, resiliency, business continuity, disaster recovery. Those are all examples of non-functional requirements that are mitigating risks. In the risk management community, we talk about what are the risks and how likely is that going to happen? And then what can we do to minimize or reduce that risk and therefore have a lower level of risk than we might have had if we didn't do anything. The idea that you are doing something to mitigate the risk or change the risk posture or whatever is considered a control. And in the risk management community, you have inherent risk. Like if I do nothing, I have a control, and then have residual risk, like how much risk is left over. Controls include things like following SDLC by deciding how you want your projects to be run, agile, waterfall, by deciding that you need to have business analysts in place to help you define your requirements or manage your backlogs or work with the product owner to introduce capabilities in a way that makes sense for that organization. We bring the ability to diagram and model them and that kind of thing. But our job, what we're doing is we are helping the business to manage their risk. And so we are a control. We are considered a specific control that is reducing the risk associated with the project.
if someone here that's watching us wants to talk a little bit more about risks, let me put me closer here, and wants to get your words about risks and maybe having you to talking with them and helping them to accessing risks, how can they reach you?
Oh, okay. The best way to reach me is to send me an email. I am a member of IIBA. I'm part of the IIBA Toronto chapter. And I've actually spoken to them about this topic. So I'm more than happy to bring that same conversation to other areas of the organization.
Yeah. Indy, thank you very much for joining me. It was a pleasure to have you. And I hope we can manage better our risks when crossing streets, when doing business, and in every aspect of our lives.
Right. In every aspect of our lives, and as well in the role that we're doing to make money to pay our mortgages.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Fabricio. It's lovely to talk to you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.